Today's episode is focused on wellness and nutrition. Joining us today is Michelle Diaz. Michelle is a nutrition and health coach as well as a business owner. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you, Rebecca, for having me. I'm so honored to be on here.
I'm so glad that you decided to join us. What does it mean to be a health coach?
Well, so I got a passion for health and fitness back when I was younger because I was overweight and I struggled a lot with my weight. I was, yeah, large. And so because of that, I went through many series of just unhealthy eating or over exercising, trying to figure out how to have that nice, perfect body that you would see on TV pretty much, right? And, I had no self confidence, no self esteem or anything. So I really struggled when I was younger with my weight. And it wasn't until my early 20s that I really decided to learn how to do it a healthy way. Because prior to that, I was either starving myself, right? We all think we need to starve ourselves and eat less and exercise more. And that didn't help me at all because I found myself as like with low energy, cranky, angry, hating myself even more. So in my early 20s, I finally started to learn what it means to really fuel your body right with protein, carbs, and fat, and learning that carbs aren't bad for you because I used to think they were bad and wanted to eliminate them in my diet. But when I started learning the importance of all our macros, and fueling my body right and exercising appropriately just to be active and get those endorphins going and really take care of my body, that's how I started to fall in love with health and fitness. And naturally, people would notice, like, you have more energy. You're actually like eating healthy. You're eating and not starving yourself. And they wanted my support in that, whether it was like teaching them how to use the weights at the gym, or it was just helping them learn how to fuel their bodies right so that they wouldn't be so tired, or going through those like yo-yo diets, right? And that's how I really started to help people. Just by me learning what to do for myself, I naturally started to support others, what they could do as well. And I just fell in love with, with helping others feel great, and knowing that we didn't have to turn to like crash dieting or pills or things that would cause us to like not eat. It's like, no, we get to eat. So that's how my journey started back in my early 20s. And I've been doing this for 13 years now, not only taking care of my own body, but also teaching others. And I think that's what causes me to continue to do it because I absolutely love supporting others to feel great, just like I do. I just turned 37 like 3 months ago. And I love telling people that because every year I feel like I feel better than the year before. And people always want to know, like, why? And I tell them, it's like, well, when you learn how to take good care of your body throughout the year, it's like the compound effect. You're eating good, you're exercising. So as you're getting older, your body's getting healthier. It doesn't have to be the other way around, right? So that's what causes me to be like, hey, I can teach you how to do that. If you're coachable, you're willing, I can teach you. So it's been an incredible, fulfilling journey for sure.
Awesome.
And so, yeah.
Yes, I resonate with so much of what you just said because I too, was a chubby teen and went through, especially in that puberty age stage, probably until I was about 16 when I started working out. I started running, but before that, my mom was always into fitness and teaching aerobics classes and dove into the weights a little bit, not to the level of what I have been involved in them over the last 10 to 15 years. But, being that chubby teen, I too felt I want to get in shape. I want to feel better. I want to have more energy. And that has stuck with me. It's not about the outside look for me anymore. It is about, I want to feel good because I'm in my 40s. So I want to feel good when I'm 50 and 60 and 80, you know. It's
Yes.
so important, and I keep saying this, I wanna be out on the pickleball court when I'm 80. I want.
Right?
Yes, yes, I want to be that person. So it's important to take care of yourself inside and out, and nutrition, all of that matters. It truly, truly does. And you made the statement, "I get to." Well, I don't know if, I've shared this with you, but I actually have this bracelet. It's wegetto.org. And
Mm,
it is a daily reminder of I get to instead of I have to or I need to. That
yes,
mindset shift, it matters.
it
And
does.
that bracelet is a reminder to me every day when I go to say, I have to go to work or I have to do this or I have to get a workout in today. I get to, because there's a lot of people that can't get up and do that.
Mhm. Yeah,
So, I can't, I'm so happy that you brought that into our conversation because that mindset shift really matters.
it does. And
Yes.
I think a lot of people don't realize that. They see exercise and eating healthy as a burden. And it's like, oh no, if you were to just change your mind and know that eating healthy, like just being more aware of what you're putting into your body and whether it's going to either A, give you energy and make you feel better afterwards, or B, is it going to like bring you down and make you want to take a nap and then there goes your whole day. You see, so if people just start looking at food as fuel rather than feeling like restricted, and then exercise like instead of looking at it as a burden, but just like you said, it's like we get to take care of our bodies so that as we age, we can have fun with our kids and our grandkids and be out there playing sports with them and enjoying life at a different level. So just like you said, as they get older, it's not about the physical so much, right? That's like a bonus. So when you put on dresses and stuff, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I do look good, right? It's but you're really doing it for how you want to be throughout the day. And I know for me, when I take care of myself, then I show up for others at a different level. Like I wouldn't be the same person if I was still eating junk food or not eating at all and not exercising. I get really like my mood gets very junky. I always say that if I eat junk, I'm going to be junky in my mood. So it's just switching the mindset, like you said, when you start seeing like good quality of food is super important to fuel you, to give you energy, to make you feel good so that you can do what you want to do in life and not feel restricted. Like, oh, I can't do this because of these health issues or medical issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I do want to go back. You talked about, under eating and overtraining. I've never shared this with anyone, and I mean anyone. But I have had an eating disorder. It started out as the bulimia side, where I would eat, I would feel guilty. I wouldn't eat to the point of gorging myself, but if I had something that I felt, quote, was not healthy, I wanted to purge that. And, I went through that stage for a good probably year off and on. It wasn't every day, but it did happen. And then from there, when I got heavy into the weightlifting, I severely underate. So it definitely went more towards the anorexia stage, where I was still eating, but I was trying to eat as light as I could, stay away from the good healthy fats and all the things that you need. And I was doing a lot of it with high protein, low carb, staying away from the carbs, thinking those were, quote, bad. But they are an energy fuel, so you do need to eat them.
right.
Yeah. So, I do, again, I've never shared that with anyone. But it's something that throughout the years I have worked hard to overcome. And now even being older, I'm eating a lot more than I did when I was in my prime, 25, 30, training really hard. But all those years of under eating and that excessive training, it's havoc on the inside of my body. It has caused downregulation of hormones. And, that's not necessarily for this episode, but from those mistakes, I've learned a heck of a lot. And that nutrition piece, it's paramount to a healthy, fit lifestyle. If you don't have the nutrition buckled in, you're not going to feel good enough to even go and do the fitness that you want to do. You're not going to be able to show up for your family and your children and work and all your obligations if you're not fueling yourself that like you need to. So,
Correct.
you're exactly right. And that kind of leads me into how are you helping your clients create lasting results?
Yes, great question. So we always invite people to do a wellness evaluation with us for anybody who is looking for any type of health goals. Some people come to us because they have low energy, they want to lose some pounds. Some are now saying they just want to be able to be alive for their grandchildren, which is like so amazing, right? Or wanting to gain weight. Believe it or not, a lot of people struggle with actually gaining healthy weight. So whatever their goal is, what we do is we sit down with them and we go over what we call wellness evaluation with them. We see what their goals are and why they want to reach them, because the why is super important. When you attach like, okay, I want to do this, but this is why, that's going to help you stick to your plan when you don't want to do it, right? Because we can all get motivated at first to do something, but as we know, that motivation can die out after a while, and you have to dig in into why you're doing something in order to stay committed to the actions to get to the result, right? So we go over their goals, their why, and then we kind of take down like we have them write down what their day looks like from the moment they wake up to the moment they fall asleep, and exactly what they're eating and drinking throughout the day. Because once we know what they're doing and what their current habits are, then we're able to put together a plan that will work for them. We recommend a good plan. Like, okay, this is the time you wake up. This is what we recommend for you to have in the morning, to just get your metabolism going, right? And then we just go through the day for them, which is pretty much is just like making sure that they're eating protein throughout the day. We just start very simple with them. That's all we want to do. We don't like to overload people right away. Like, this is why protein, carbs, fats, like the first day, right? We start them off small, and we first have them focus on their protein intake, like making sure that they're getting, for women, at least 105 to 120 grams of protein. For men, 120 to 185 or so, right, grams of protein, depending on what their goals are. Uh, because what we notice when people come to us, they're so under eating, but they're not getting close to enough protein. Their protein for women can be like 40 to 50 grams a day. For men, it could be 50 to 80 grams a day, not even close to where they're supposed to be. And that's why they're feeling tired and lethargic and achy and not getting good quality of sleep, right? And gaining weight. And so what we do is we just have them focus on implementing more protein throughout the day, from the moment they wake up to the moment they fall asleep, and staying within the calorie range where we recommend for them according to what their goals are. And we just focus on those two things. And then throughout um, the journey that they're on with us, we have great communication. We also provide an online community group for them, where there we provide value and we start educating them on like why we tell them to eat protein, why carbs, why the healthy fats, why get some exercise and drink water throughout the day. Like those basic habits that are key to their success, we start teaching them and educating them on all of those. So then that way, as they're on their journey with us, they're learning. And I know for me that if I'm learning why I'm doing something, why it's important for me to do it, I'm going to do it more. And then I'm going to be making better decisions when I'm out and about in my day, according to what I'm learning. So we like to educate them. And I think it's because we provide accountability, because that's why I tell people, it's like with us, you're going to get accountability, you're going to get follow up, because we want them to get results. We want them to feel great like we do, right? And so for us, we really tell them like with us, you're going to get that accountability, and we work what kind of accountability they want. For some people, they like the tough love, right? And that's great because we can totally do that. For some people, they like the gentle, loving, that type of accountability, and that's awesome because we can do that too. So I like to know how to work with them because every person's different. And once I learn how they like to be held accountable, then we go that route. And I think that's what causes them to feel supported, loved, heard. You know what I mean? They can tell that we genuinely care about how they're feeling throughout the day, throughout the week. And we just focus on helping them get 1% better each day. Because if you just focus on that, you're going to look back like 2 years, 3 years from now, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm down 72 pounds. And all it took was 3 pounds a month, right? We just recently helped a client reach, 72 pounds weight loss, but that wasn't like, she wasn't expecting to lose that. It just naturally happened. She was fueling her body well. And when we took that and see like on average how much she lost throughout like those 2 years, it was like 3 pounds a month. And I'm like, that's totally doable. If people just stick to their healthy habits and just getting a little bit better because she wasn't perfect in her journey, right? That's what we love to teach. It's like having balance. On the weekends, go have that treat meal with your family. Go, enjoy what you want to enjoy. Don't feel guilty. I think that's the most important thing. We don't want people to feel restricted because if you feel restricted, you're setting yourself up for failure. But if you feel like, okay, I can 80% of the time eat good and healthy and take care of my body and enjoy 20%. For some people, it's that 10%. That's fine. Perfect. You're still going to see results. Just focus on getting 1% better. So I think with the system that we have in place, like making sure that they know, hey, we're going to hold you accountable because you came to us for a reason. We have a great community locally and online because we work with a lot of people also out of state, which is really cool. So we have an online community to encourage them, to keep them excited, to stay committed to their goals when they're not motivated. And we're there for that, and I also have that personal touch to make sure that they come in, they get one-on-one time with us, or and they are part of the community events that we have going on. So I believe with all of that we provide, since we provide a lot of value, it helps them be successful on their journey. And we go up and, we go through the journey with them and they feel like they're not alone. And I think that's what makes people want to stick with us because they're like, I'm not alone. And instead they feel like they gained another family, like their fit family, right? They can't wait to come and be around the energy in the community. And it's so awesome how they then develop friendships outside of like what we do. And because now they know that they have other friends who are going after goals and they can all encourage each other. so, yeah. So that's how we support people on saying like their healthy habits is just really listening to where they're at and guiding them throughout the process so they don't feel alone.
I absolutely love that. I think it's super cool that you ask them, what works for them and you meet them where they are. Because that is so helpful and critical. You're getting their buy-in, for them to work the program and be engaged and you're their coach the way they want to be coached. And that's super important. So that's awesome. I do want to kind of touch on, you mentioned protein. And I will say that there are so many of my friends, uh, mainly female friends that I talk to, and they are severely under eating, but especially under eating protein. It's amazing. They wake up, they get that big bowl of oats with fruit. They may throw some nuts in there or some sort of healthy fat. Very minimal protein, so they're not starting their day and fueling that tank. It's all of those carbohydrates or quick sugars. So it is
Yes.
important, especially at the start of your day, that you have some protein in there to sustain your appetite because it is a blunt to the appetite. It helps keep you hungry. That satiety, we can even go there and talk about that. But it makes a difference every day that I start, and I start with a good protein. I can go a few hours or, up to 4 hours without needing to eat again. I'm sustained. I feel good. I have energy. There's not the peaks, the up or downs. So it is amazing. And I'm not really sure why that is that women are hesitant to eat more protein if they feel like I'm going to gain weight. But it's, that is not the case whatsoever. And then the amount of under eating, it is a serious thing. I know for me, there'll be days that I'm busy and I know I've got to eat, and I have a good appetite, so I do eat. Don't get me wrong. But for me, keeping up with I'll add my fitness pal in to make sure that I am not dropping my calorie intake, because when you do that, that's going to wreak havoc on your metabolism. It's going to drive your energy down. You're not going to be able to go and do those workouts. You're not going to sleep good. It's going to affect all the things. So for
Yes.
me, making sure that I'm keeping my calorie intake up is something that I've had to work on the last several years. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it's on because my body loves food. It loves fuel, as others do too. When I eat, I tend to maintain or lose,
Yes.
not intentionally, but I will look better when I'm actually eating all the things. Now, I'm not talking about sitting down with a bag of chips or getting the donuts out for breakfast. I'm talking about eating good whole foods, that are proper nutrients for your body. It makes a difference. So
Yeah.
everything you touched on is so important. Um, and so many of my friends, it's the beginning of the year. So everybody's dieting, we're going low
Yes.
carb, we're doing
Yeah.
all the things. And I will say it and I'll repeat it again and again and again. Carbs aren't the enemy.
Nope. They aren't
Yeah,
at all.
they're not.
They aren't.
Now, the type of carbs you're eating matters, just like the type of proteins you're eating and the type of fats you're eating. They matter.
Yes.
We can't eat a jar of peanut butter. I'd love to. I, you know,
Yes.
I love to. Before we jumped on this call, I had some almond butter and some celery and some collagen powder. So, I mean, I'd love to sit down and eat that tub of peanut butter or almond butter because it's so good. But it's
Correct.
all in moderation.
All I want.
Yes.
I love the part where you said whole foods because we're big on helping people learn to eat whole foods nowadays. Like even fast food is just like that's not, whole foods. And can be really processed. And you go to the grocery store and it's the same thing. You can go down all the aisles and get all the processed stuff. And that's my husband and I love to teach people eating throughout the day, whole foods is so much better than any process, like say, even if it was like a protein bar, right? Because whole foods, you can get more volume, in the foods that you're eating and more nutrition. Sometimes like people will like to grab something super small that might be processed and might have a lot of protein, but it's like they're gonna be hungry within the next hour,
Mhm.
So we try to teach them how they can be having their whole foods, like their healthy protein snack, healthy protein lunch, snack and dinner all throughout the day. The one thing that we also do, and we'll probably get into when we go into Jeff City Mix, we provide our healthy meal replacement smoothies for people who have a hard time like getting something in for breakfast.
Mm.
For me, back in the day, when I was in college, I didn't know the importance of breakfast, right? And I would always hear like, oh, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You would always hear that, but I just didn't know why. So my breakfast literally was like a granola bar and an energy drink. And sometimes it was like 2 or 3 energy drinks because I wasn't eating throughout the day. So I wasn't fueling my body. So I was like depending on these drinks to get me through the day with the granola bar in the morning. So when I finally like learned the importance of protein and carbs and healthy fats and whole foods and what to eat, for me, I'm still not a huge breakfast eater, right? And I'm always like on the go because I love my sleep. So sometimes I'll wait till the very last moment to be like, okay, let's get up and let's get this day going. So I'm going in the morning, right? So I'll make myself a healthy like protein shake. And for ours, it's like a healthy meal replacement, which gives you 24 grams of protein. Everything they need a healthy balanced meal in that shake so that I can like drink it on my way wherever I'm going, right? In the past, it was like school, my job at the time, and it made it fast and convenient. But I noticed that after having that, and because of all the nutrients that it had, I got that natural energy and I started up my metabolism. I didn't have to depend on my energy drink, so my eyes weren't twitching anymore. I could used to twitch in class from all the caffeine I would have. So I was finally getting fuel in my body, eating good, and then that shake, because it had 24 grams of protein and a lot of nutrients, it would help me like stay full until like 2 to 3 hours later to have my protein snack, right? And my protein snack nowadays, it's like my husband will meal prep for me, which I'm super grateful for that because I used to cook in the family. But it could be a small size of like ground turkey, some veggies, and some rice, right? Like that is my snack. And then I'll have like a bigger amount when it comes to lunch and then another smaller amount for like a snack again, and then in dinner a little larger amount. But that's pretty much what we'll be having throughout the day. And then you get to notice that because you're having protein, which is like the building blocks of our body, it's like a great energy source, right? Along with carbs, we need that. It's like brain fuel, right? Carbs and your healthy fats as well. You start to naturally have the energy throughout the day that you're not depending on all these cups of coffee and these energy drinks anymore. You're noticing like, oh, I just need a little pick me up in the morning. Because some people do. I still have like my energy tea, but it's like clean energy. It's not the ones that will make my eyelids flutter. I'll still have that, but I'm not dependent on all the caffeine all throughout the day. It's just the morning as a little pick me up and I'm good to go because I'm feeling my body well. And so that's what we try to teach our clients that we're working with, how they can have that sustainable energy and not feel so lethargic by the time they get home. Some days you start to notice by the time they get home, they're excited to take their kids to sporting events. They start cleaning the house. They're not like just flopping on the couch. And I think those for me, when people start like mentioning those off the scale results with us, those are the ones that I absolutely love because I'm like, yes, you just cracked the code of how you can have great energy throughout the day. And you just keep that up with those habits, and you will see how your results, whether it's fat loss or muscle gain or just wanting to increase athletic performance, will naturally start to happen as you're taking care of your body. So, yeah, I absolutely love how you said that protein is so good. And I know a lot of women think I'm going to bulk up. And I'm like, no, that's not the case. You need to train really hard in order to do that and eat massive amount of food to even have that happen. Right. So,
And potentially a couple other things
yes.
going on in the background as well to make that happen, because as a female, it's just not really possible. There might be a select 10% of the population that just gains muscle rapidly and can always look ripped, but it's very, very rare. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, one thing I do want to go back to is you mentioned caffeine, and I can admit that I was guilty in those years that I was under eating and overtraining. Um, I would do pre-workout in the morning. As soon as I woke up, I would be sipping on my pre-workout, getting ready. Now, I always would fuel myself with something, whether it was a protein shake, because typically when I work out, it is super early in the morning. So a full meal for me usually doesn't work. Um, so I do tend to grab things that are not whole foods. So I am guilty of that. But in the morning, I would, be sipping on that pre workout. By lunchtime, I would need and I did like the taste, but I am guilty. It would be an energy drink, whether it was a sugar-free Monster, and I would try to drink maybe just half the can and not the whole thing. But I felt like I felt terrible during those years. And, I think I mentioned to you multiple times, is there caffeine in this? I can't have caffeine. I have literally the last several years had very minimal. I will drink some green tea in the morning here and there, or maybe have a half cup of coffee, black, if I want in the morning, but I no longer need caffeine to get through my day, to start my day, at all. I do not have the energy crashes. And, for a woman in her 40s that has a busy schedule, balancing all the things, I can go from sunup to sundown without crashing in the couch. Um,
That's easy.
yeah. So that caffeine piece that you brought up, it truly does make a difference. And I know it sucks. I'll use the word sucks when you eliminate caffeine. I mean, you'll be on the struggle bus, or at least I was, for a week to 2 weeks. But once I finally let go of that caffeine and that withdrawal was gone, I felt so much better. And
Yes.
your mind, the mental clarity, and there are benefits to using caffeine for performance. I mean, we could go down that rabbit hole as well. And it is true legit thing, the alertness. But when you're using it on a day to day basis, it is a drug, and it should be used at minimum, not in quantities of 500 milligrams a day for a female that's less than 120 pounds. That's super dangerous. I was on the path of having a stroke, so it was time to cut back. Not technically, but if had I kept that up, how long would my heart be able to handle pre-workout and midday caffeine monsters? So I'm glad that I finally cut the cord with those and just have either coffee or green tea sparingly these days, because I do feel much better. So I love that you brought that up. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I tend to have after my shake is the green tea, like, because like, it also gives you lots of antioxidants and helps speed up your metabolism a bit. So yeah, that's the clean energy that now I have, which is like you were mentioning, is the green tea with my B12 vitamin, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. And a lot of times it's because it tastes so good.
Yeah.
I wish I could have it all day, but I really just like you limit my caffeine intake and just have it in the morning as my little like happy juice. I like to call it my little happy juice. And then I use the food all throughout the day to keep my energy going. That's really all we need, right? That's really all we need. So
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Well, you mentioned Jeff City Mix, and I know you're the proud owner. So do you mind sharing your journey and how Jeff City Mix was created?
Yes. Oh my goodness. So my husband and I are from California, LA area, and our business concept, which is now known as Jeff City Mix, started back in California in 2020 when the pandemic hit. Okay. So we both like he was a personal trainer at the time at a really good gym, and I was working for the Chamber of Commerce at my local, city that we were living in. And so we had prayed previously before 2020 happened, if the Lord really wanted us to take on entrepreneurship and start a business where we could provide healthier options for our community. Like we were praying for that for a couple of years now. So we felt that once 2020 hit and, with him being a personal trainer and the stay-at-home order happened, his hours were naturally cut, right? And then my hours were eventually cut too, because everybody's jobs were pretty much cut and there's only so much that you can do, right? So at that moment, we went ahead and we were like thinking, okay, like what can we do to just bring extra income? Because we just didn't want to like sit and do nothing. So we really took that as like that was the Lord nudging us to be like, okay, provide your healthy, you know, smoothies and teas and eventually protein donuts to the community. So we did. We just one day, posted on our social media that we were going to be selling smoothies and we call them our boosted teas, which are like our green teas, and protein donuts. We posted that on our social media. We said, if you guys would like us to deliver, let us know. This is our Venmo, and we'll deliver to you during these hours of the day. And literally blew up. Like the community was loving it. We were getting so many orders. We were selling our healthy meal shakes, right? Our teas and our protein donuts, and people were loving them. They were like absolutely loving the teas, loving the energy that they were getting from them, loving just knowing that it was a healthier option. Because at that time, remember with pandemic and COVID happening, people were looking to get healthy. They didn't want to get sick. And if they got COVID, they wanted to not be sick for a while, right? So they were all looking for ways to boost up their immunity and be able to avoid that, right? Getting sick. So that's how our business took off. And for a whole year, we just kept doing it, even when, we were able to go back to our jobs and we were able to, Alex went back to personal training and I went back to getting more hours at the chamber. We already had like loved what we were providing for the community. We noticed that we were making a positive impact. So we didn't want to stop that because people were loving the product that we were giving to them and the service. So we continued doing I say our side hustle because it was at that time. In between our jobs, we were still, Alex would wake up early in the morning, go personal train, come make protein donuts, blend the shakes, blend the teas according to the orders that we had, go deliver them, then go do one-on-one personal training. And then we put it in the nooks and crannies of our day. And in 1 year, we were able to save $10,000 from our apartment doing this, which was really amazing. It really blew our minds that we were able to do that. And so the community wanted us to open up a brick and mortar spot, right? And so we did. We looked around in California to see what would be a perfect spot for us to have our business. And we quickly found out, because it's LA area, that things are just so expensive in California. And it was just, we would break even if we were to open the doors, and we didn't want to be in this hamster wheel either. You know what I mean? So we have a friend that lives in Kentucky, and she opened up, a store in Kentucky a couple years ago, and it was going amazing. And people from Jeffersonville and like New Albany, like Southern Indiana, they were driving across the bridge to go get the smoothies and the teas and everything from her. So she told us like, hey, would you consider moving out here? There are people that will love, a storefront like the one I have in Kentucky, in Indiana. Would you consider maybe moving and opening up your business here? So that's when, like 3 years ago, it's like to the month, we came and visited Indiana. We scoped the area out. We saw where, places that we could potentially open. And, after visiting and working at her shop too in Kentucky, we're like, okay, we could totally do this. Yeah, but we had to pray about it. We're big in our faith, and we want to make sure that any big decision that we make, it's like led by the Lord, right? So we went back home to California. We prayed about it. We asked, guidance from like our pastors as well at our church at that time. And we wrestled with it a lot because I will admit, I did not want to move. And a lot of it was because of like the church family that we had there, and our family and friends are there. We were born and raised in California. But once I like really prayed about it, and I just went ahead, and because Alex was excited from the get-go. Alex was always looking for a reason to leave California. And so he's like, we're doing this. And so once I just like went ahead and agreed to like, okay, I'm going to trust that the Lord is leading you and that you're leading our family where you want us to go. And I'm behind you. If you want to move, let's do it. Once I gave into that, my excitement just like unleashed. I was like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to open up a business in Indiana. And so, yeah, in March, the first week of March in 2021, I moved first, right? And then Alex moved in May because he was finishing up his contract as a personal trainer at the gym. And then we signed the lease to where Jeff City Mix is currently at. We signed the lease later on that month in May. And then it wasn't until October 2021 that we opened up because the build out and everything. But from the very beginning, we were excited to be able to provide healthier options to this community, right? Because as I mentioned, our smoothies are packed with lots of great nutrition, our teas as well, and our protein donuts are like a healthy version of a regular donut. You get 11 grams of protein in the donut and some fun toppings, but people can order without the fun toppings, right? But what I feel has really caused us to be super successful because the business has been so successful. And I always like to give all the glory to the Lord because it's because of Him. Alex and I always remind each other that this is his business and he has entrusted us with his business to steward it well, just like we are called to steward our bodies well. He has given us a business to steward well and to provide healthy options to the community that will only support them in their health, right? And our goal from the very beginning was to make a positive impact. We wanted to let the community know that we're here to give back and to bring the community together, especially after, COVID and, people were forced to stay at home, kind of be isolated. Our mission was to like now bring people to come together in a positive way where they're learning how to fuel their bodies right. They're learning how to reach goals in a healthy way, health goals in a healthy way, be around others with a positive mindset, always encouraging each other and doing life together. I think that's one of the things that we really love. We can see how friendships have developed inside our business and how they continue to flourish outside of our business. And that is what gets us really excited that we're literally using our business as a way to make a positive impact and be on mission for that. So that's what gets me super excited for what we're doing.
I'm super happy that you're here and that our paths cross. I'm sure that those that know you feel the same. We love that you're in the community and everything that you're doing and supporting and motivating others to live a healthy lifestyle. So we're so thankful you're here. How do you balance maintaining a healthy lifestyle and managing the business? Because you've got a lot going on.
Yes. I think honestly, the way that I balance it out is, well, I'm super grateful for the fact that I'm in the health and fitness industry because it helps me stay accountable as I'm helping our clients and we're teaching them what to do. It's like we got to make sure we're doing it right in order to really have integrity. So that helps me to stay on track with my goals, right? To make sure I get my exercise in. And I love it when now clients start holding us accountable. Like, hey, what did you work on today? Like, did you get your exercise in? Did you reach your protein goal? Like, I love that because that's what it's all about, is that we're helping each other stay on track. And so that's how we make sure that we prioritize number one, like our faith. That's number one. We have to prioritize like God being in the center of our lives, and then from there is making sure that we're taking care of, our marriage, right? My husband and I we're married and we're business partners. So we have to make sure we have the Lord in our relationships so that everything can uh
Absolutely.
like, no, we have bumps on the road, but with the Lord, like He helps us out. So having God first, and then taking care of our marriage, and then from there taking care of like the body the Lord has given us, right? So that we can show up in our business and in our lives for everyone else way better, right? When we are taking care of ourselves, then we can go ahead and take care of others. And we have such a heart for the people that the Lord brings into our lives, which is really crazy because I used to not like people. I used to be so quiet, so timid. I would like not want to be in any type of social gatherings. But I feel like as I gave my life to the Lord and as I drew closer to Him and He grew my faith, like He has given me a heart for people and a love for them. And same with Alex. It, if you get to know my husband, you know that he's the opposite of me. He's more of a quiet type of person, but he loves people as well. He's just more reserved at first, but once you get to know him, then he will talk and joke around with you, and it's awesome. But we just love to be to show people that we care and that we love them and that we're here for them. And most importantly, not only to help them with their health and fitness, but our goal is to also support them in coming to know Christ if they don't know him yet, or help people get back into church if they have strayed away. That's really, I think, because we have a bigger mission than what people see. That's what gets us up in the morning and excited to go to work and do what we do and spend hours of what we do, because for us, it's like we're on mission all the time, right? But making sure that we're taking care of ourselves and getting enough rest and, getting rejuvenated. But being able to have that balance is very important. So then that way we don't like spread ourselves too thin. And I think having the Lord in the center of our lives has really helped us with everything else falling into place.
I can totally relate to that. I couldn't imagine working with my husband, being around him 24/7. We would, the Lord would definitely have to be a intricate part of that. I I will agree.
Yeah.
Has faith always been, a part of your life, or is that something you think has come more recent or before you moved from California?
Yes. So I was born and raised in a Catholic family. So I did go to a private school and I learned about God there. But I will have to say that it wasn't until 2017 until I finally gave my life to the Lord. And what I mean by that is previously I was always trying to do life on my own terms. And make my own plans and do things my own way, but nothing would ever come out the way that I would be not happy and miserable and unsatisfied. Even if I would reach goals that I wanted to reach, I would still be like, why do I still feel so empty and not excited about things? And so when I finally realized that the missing point was like God, I was like, okay. And I remember back in 2016, right before 2017 came, I had a bold prayer and I was like, Lord, this year I'm going to give you my life and I'm going to allow you to drive and I'm going to be in the passenger seat and I don't know where you're going to take me, but I'm going to trust you. And I just ask that you help me walk by faith, one step at a time, because I didn't know how my life was going to turn out, right? And that's when my faith really grew because I got involved more into church, my local church back in California. I was a Christian church, non-denominational, and the people there were so amazing, so welcoming, so loving. The pastors cared, right, in terms of really pouring into us from the Bible. It was always biblical encouragement, which I loved, and which helped me draw closer to Jesus and learn about him and realize what he did for us, right, on the cross. When I learned all of that, I couldn't help but to fall more in love with Jesus and with God and just really growing my faith. And then from there, I have based all of the decisions, really taking time to pray and taking time to read the word of God and making sure that before we make any big decisions, that it's according to what he wants for us, because we can plan and have goals, but now we know that ultimately it's his will, and I think that takes a lot of pressure off of us, because I used to want to have things turn out my way. And if they didn't, I would be so crushed and so disappointed and be depressed. And now, if things do kind of go in a direction that we might not expect, we know that God is sovereign and he's guiding us and we get to trust in his plan. And it's so freeing. It's so freeing to know that. And so that's where a lot of my joy comes from is just the hope that I have in Jesus, because I know where I was before him and it wasn't in a good place at all. And so now I am who I am because of him. And I can't help but to share him with others, because that's another thing. Just when I feel good with my nutrition and fitness and what I'm doing, I want to share with you. It's the same thing. I'm like, if you don't know Jesus, let me tell you about him because he's amazing. So it's like I grew up learning, but it wasn't until I fully gave my life to him in 2017 that my life has completely transformed. And I'm super grateful and thankful for that.
Yeah. There's times in my life where I have tried to control every situation, and I too can relate to exactly what you're saying. And, it took me a while, but I realized that I'm not in control. There are things that we can control, like what we choose to put in our bodies, where we choose to spend our time, what we choose to listen or watch. There are some things we can control, but in the big scheme of things, ultimately, he is in control. And, just staying positive, allowing him to guide you through whatever it is, if it's a storm that you're going through, because we all have them. We all have them. And it too shall pass. And there are things that happen in our lives. I've had a few. Um, something that happened almost a year ago, or April will be this year, and you ask yourself, why did this happen? Why did this happen to, these good people or, just things? We can't answer them, but in some way, somehow there is a purpose. Everything happens for a reason. Um, I've been blessed with a son. He will be 20 next month in February, and, after my son, I was not able to have any more children. And so there was I had miscarriages. I believe it was 4. When things tend to happen to me, I, put them far down in my mind so that I'm not thinking about that. Maybe I haven't fully dealt with them. I just kind of stick them there and let's pull our big girl pants on and we're moving forward. But you ask yourself why, and there's a reason. Eh, I don't know, it's beyond me, but there is a reason. Maybe that child, would be born and not have the best life it could have, or maybe, my life would be taken. There's so many reasons as to why. He knows. He has a plan. He has a plan for me, you, everyone, and I think having faith is so important because especially whether we all lean on God when we're going through those storms, but when you lean on God during the times when you're not going through the storms, that's when things happen. You will start seeing things that you can't see when you're going through a storm. So allow Him to be with you and be present no matter what you're going through, and especially when you're not going through those storms. So
Yes.
I love that faith is such a major part of your all's life. And, I'm sure that it puts that smile on your face and has helped you all get where you are today. It's played an intricate role, I'm sure. So, um,
Most definitely.
yeah, yeah.
I used to not smile, right? I used to not be this person. And that when I tell people that, they can't believe it. And I'm like, no, it's seriously like the Lord has literally changed me where I now have joy and I can share that. And I think that's one of my main things. Like one thing like at our store at Jeff City Mix, and I get this from people who like to hang out there for a while, that they notice that, especially regular customers, I start saying like when they were leaving, I'm like, I love you, have a great day, have a pleasant, whatever. And I'll just say it because it's true. I like to let people know that I love them because there's different levels to love. Sometimes, people like, how can you love? But it's like, as Christians, we are called to love. They even says in the Bible, love your enemies, right? We're called to love everyone. We might not like everyone, but we get to love on them, right? So I want to make it a point that people know that, hey, thank you for coming in. Have a blessed day. I love you. See you soon, right? And then some people know it's like, you say I love you, and then they don't say it back. Does that like bother you? And I'm like, no, I don't even. I'm not saying it to have them say it back to me. I'm saying it because I want them to know that they are loved by someone. Because some people might not hear that day, but at least they get to come in to Jeff City Mix and they get to hear it from like me. right? My husband might not be the one to say it. Yeah, I can say he's the quiet one. That's why he puts me in the front. So I can say it for both of us. We love you. And that's all the Lord because I used to not like people and I thought I didn't love them, right? Because I didn't want to be around them. That's just like how I used to be. So to know that as like I said, as I drew close to the Lord, He gave me that joy. He gave me that heart for people. Um, it's super cool to see because I remember I used to not be that person. So to have Him use me the way He wants to use me now, it's really I am going and like the joy that people see. It's really because I have my hope in Him, and I know that He's like being like Christian is an adventure. You like I said, you can plan your year and your years to come, but with the Lord, at any given moment, you can switch it up, and you just get to trust in Him. Right? That's when you get to really lean on Him, and knowing that He's leading, and knowing that He's always working for the good of those who love Him and who are called according to His purpose, brings me comfort to know, like, okay, God, I'm gonna trust you. You're the director of the ship, or I don't know who you what you call someone in driving the ship or whatever. But we're gonna trust you, and it's been an incredible journey. Let me tell you, because I don't think it was like we wouldn't be where we're at or be on mission the way that we are if it wasn't for our faith in the bigger mission that the Lord has placed in our hearts.
Yeah. That's amazing, Michelle. Well, what an amazing conversation today with Michelle. Those of you listening, we'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences on these topics. Michelle, if you don't mind to share with the audience how they can connect with you.
Yes. So I have Facebook and Instagram. You can connect with me on Facebook just by searching for Michelle Diaz. And also, you can also look for our business, Jeff City Mix. So that's jeffcity.mix. And that's the same thing for Instagram, jeffcity.mix. And then my personal Instagram, you can follow me. I would love if you can follow me. You're probably going to laugh at my handle, but this is it. It's at loves the number two smile 24/7. I'm sure I can like put that on here. But loves to smile 24/7 and also jeffcity.mix. But for my email, you can reach us at jeffcity.mix@gmail.com or me personally, if you're a woman and you definitely just want to reach out to me because my husband has access to Jeff City too. It can be M for Michelle .dsfitness 2020 @gmail.com. I know that was a lot.
Well, I will include all that information in the show notes on how to connect with Michelle. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for more insightful discussions. Thank you for joining us on Balance and Bottom Lines with Rebecca. Remember, the balance between personal well-being and professional success is key. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, keep striving for excellence in both your personal and professional life. Thank you so much, Michelle, for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Rebecca. This has been so much fun and such an honor. Thank you.
I've learned so much today that I didn't know.
Oh, yay.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.